With two high-profile incidents, Perez's performance has received some criticism. It doesn't help that his teammate has gotten pole and has won the last two races, showing the true potential of the car. It has led to some interesting questions about his performance. I think that the criticism that Checo has received is an excellent example of only being as good as your last race. Checo has won 2 races, has finished in the podium 4 times, and has gotten 2 pole positions. I understand that at the moment, Red Bull seems to be competing at a whole different level, but it shows that Perez has had his best start to a season. After his crash in Monaco and his poor performance in the race, it seems like it has added some pressure. When looking into what has caused these past few incidents, Checo admitted that his mistake in Monaco was caused because he took a last-minute decision, which caused him to rush one last lap, arguably pushing too hard when he didn't need to. When it comes to the incident during the Spanish Grand Prix, it was a bit different. Even before qualifying, there was a clear difference between the performance of Verstappen and Perez. This could be because a track like Barcelona suits more of Verstappen's driving style. While Verstappen and Perez were P1 and P2 during FP1, the gap between them was noticeable. For Spain, it feels like it was a bit of a different situation. Perez had claimed that during the weekend, he had to modify his driving style. He also claimed that with the changing conditions, it was hard to get the full potential out of the car. He has struggled to get the most performance out of the car, which has led him to change his driving style, which could possibly lead him to lack the confidence in the car. Checo could possibly keep running into the same issues if he keeps overthinking his driving style. A clear example of this recently is Daniel Ricciardo, who struggled at McLaren, which led him to lack the performance that he was known for. These struggles could be track specific, but they could also be an early sign of the struggles for Perez. It is well known that Perez performs better in street tracks. Looking at the calendar, 5 out of the last 7 races have been in street tracks. This could be the reason why he performed so well at the beginning of the season and now has struggled in a traditional track. After the Canadian Grand Prix, it could be a few races where Perez lacks the pace compared to his teammate. As a Perez fan, hopefully his season is not a repeat of last year's season. He started strong and his performance struggled after losing confidence in the car. When we look at the results after the Canadian Grand Prix, which is run on a street track, until Singapore, the next street track, he was not able to reach the podium 5 times in 7 races, even though he arguably was in the strongest car during that period, and he had help from Ferrari, who decided to have some questionable strategic decisions. Another question that is asked is if his championship hopes are over. Although we still have a lot of races to go, it's difficult and almost impossible to see Perez win the Drivers' Championship. Verstappen has a 53-point lead, which would require Perez to have an impressive comeback and would require Verstappen to make a few mistakes in order to close the gap. It also ignores the fact that Verstappen is currently in the best form of his career. It is rare for Verstappen to make mistakes. Even when he starts in unusual positions, it does not take long for him to make it back to the front of the grid. I don't doubt that Perez could win a championship in a Red Bull car, but his teammate is extremely consistent and does not make the odd mistakes that Perez does. It reminds me of the 2019 season, where Bottas won a few races at the beginning of the season, and there was all these questions on could Bottas 2.0 beat Hamilton, just like Rosberg did. But even before the summer break, Hamilton had closed the gap and Bottas wasn't able to keep up with his consistency. Even after Bottas left Mercedes, he was able to show that he's a great driver. He was just not able to deal with the constant pressure to perform at Hamilton's level. I personally believe that Perez is a great driver. He's just not able to deal with the constant pressure to perform at Verstappen's level.